All right, guys. So, very interesting thing that happened. Was it yesterday, or the day before yesterday, with my daughter? Okay, my daughter. She will be 6 soon. All right, her name is Luna. Luna Cordovez. She's a sweetheart. She's amazing. And it's very nice because she talks and says kind of what her issue is or what's happening. Okay, here's what happened. We were cooking. So before I get into this, why it's important is because this idea, because, you know, I'm obviously Luna is very young and she's learning, she's open to learning. And there's little things where as you're growing up, you learn things maybe from your parents or from something and you develop a belief system. And there's a lesson that I taught her or that I was talking to her that is... God, it's so amazing. And if you just do this, and in a way, it also was teaching myself. As I was teaching, I'm like, wow, I should be doing this more, applying this concept or philosophy more. But here's the deal. Here's the story. She says, hey, I told her, hey, do you want to help me make eggs in the morning? Or I was cooking eggs. She wants to make eggs. Okay, good. So I have this little spatula. It's like a metal one. It's kind of a flipping thing. Anyway, so first she cracks the eggs. So she cracks all the eggs. Teach her how to do it. She does it. Boom. She cracks all the eggs herself. Amazing, right? Just by herself. And then also, we had a hot dog and wanted to cut the hot dog, right? So I had her take this kind of spatula thing and like press down on the hot dog and make little pieces, right? And she did amazing. She cut all the pieces until she had one piece that was kind of like, I don't know, one of the last pieces, and it was like on the side and she couldn't really cut it. And she told me, I can't do it. She put the thing down. She was like, she was done. Luna. I was like, what do you mean you can't do it? And I said, Luna, why don't you change that phrase or that thing? Why don't you change that instead of I can't do it? Why don't you change it to how can I do it? Okay? And I said, look, your mind, let's say, or you can ask yourself a question and you'll find the answer, okay? Or you can tell yourself something and that can become true for you, right? So I guess there's a saying, right? If you believe you can or believe you can't, either way you're right. That's like a saying that's out there. It's kind of famous. But it's just switch it. It's a small switch. It's not like a major thing, right? It's a pivot. Okay, a small pivot. You're doing a direction. You're saying, well, I can't. Boom. Now that's the case. And she was done. At that point, she was not going to cut this little hot dog. And is it a life or death thing? No. Is it like super crazy important? Maybe the cutting of the hot dog is not important, but the philosophy is important. So I said, okay, well, how about this? How can you do it? And she's like, okay. And I was like, well, look at it. And so she's looking at the line. She's like, oh, and I don't remember if I told her or she figured out or exactly what happened. Oh, yeah. So this is what happened. And I said, why don't you change to how can you do it? And she was like, okay. So then she tried, and she wasn't necessarily kind of working out. And then I think I asked her to ask me or something. And she's like, well, how can I do it? Or how can I be done? Or I forgot exactly the exact interactions. Okay. But the point is, she flipped it. Oh, yeah. She got the thing. And it was on the side. And so like she put it with like the cut side to the bottom. And it made it more stable. And then she cut it. And then she was super excited. She's like, I cut this and whatever. And she was talking about it the whole day. How she cracked her own eggs. She cooked the things herself. She cut the hot dog pieces. She salted it. She took it off the burner. She did everything herself. She was like, I did it. And she was super proud. And it was amazing. But it's such a small idea, right? Because if you say like, and this applies, of course, to Amazon or to anything in life. If you say, I can't do it, you probably won't be then able to. And not because you're not physically capable or, mentally capable. It's just, well, you've decided you can. Maybe at that point you can't or you won't, right? But if you just do that little shift to how can I do it? So the same thing for me. I'm like, okay, so what's the target? Okay, we want to get to $1 million a day. We want to get to whatever. We want to reach X amount of people and this. And I go, oh, wow. Well, man, these YouTube videos don't get watched. There's so many things. But rather than be like, well, I can't do that. Be like, oh, how can I do that? So instead of like, oh, I don't know, we can't have hundreds of employees, or we don't know how to we can't hire a person in China because we can't find somebody. We can't find somebody, right? Instead of I can't do it, we can't find somebody. But if we switch it and say, how can we find a Chinese-speaking person? And so we actually hired somebody in Taiwan instead of China. But that was the how. How do I get a Chinese-speaking person? It seemed like we had a better connection in Taiwan and we did it. So instead of like, oh, well, I could never do that, or it's too many numbers, or I can't understand it. No. How can you do it? So it's a small shift. But for us, I mean, for me, I've done that many times, you know, and that's something that my mom taught me as well. You know, when I'm like, oh, I can't do this or blah, she's like, well, how can you do it? And like, so of course your parents, I saw that, like, as a dad now, and I'm talking to Luna, and like, that's hopefully something she's going to take with her and something I'm talking about. But there's a difference, because maybe in your household, you didn't have that. And maybe, you know, who knows, your parents, maybe you didn't have parents, or maybe your parents were people who didn't think they could do many things, you know, and they had that issue. Or maybe you would never learn it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Or even if you did learn it, but there's always degrees, right? There's a post of a person who I know who lost, I don't know, like 140 pounds, right? And, you know, for some reason, just because I saw that today, it's on my mind, but it applies to so many things. You know, couldn't lose weight forever. I can't lose weight. My body's not made that way, or saying all these different things. And then at one point, you know, I don't know that much of the exact story, but she's like, well, most likely it was a change of like, well, how can I lose weight? Right? And as soon as you change yourself from, you know, having a problem to instead of being the solver of problems, and you put that mindset on and you make that pivot or that shift, you will be able to make things happen. And so online, it's very clear. I mean, I've seen people who are, you know, in a scenario where they don't know computers. They don't know how to do things. And they go, instead of like, oh, I don't know computer, they're like, well, how can I learn? And if you ask the question, you go, okay, well, I'm going to go do some very, very basic course. Or I'm going to go and ask, you know, my cousin about it because he knows it. But if you just change the question or change the sort of story, as opposed to like, this is too hard, this can't be done, we can't figure it out. All those ideas where the focus is on the issue or the problem being too big. Instead, you know, we do have an infinite ability. And if you just frame it to, well, how can I get to, you know, $10 million in sales? How can I hire a good person? How can I make it so, you know, my staff are reliable? How can I find a good person? Right? That's another a hiring thing. It's like, there's no good people out there. It's hard to find a good person. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that concept is hard to find a good person. It could be helpful or it could be unhelpful, meaning you can take that idea and say it's hard to find a good person and then not try to look for a good person. Or until you can say it's hard to find a good person, well, okay, maybe that's true. If that is true, or whether it's not true, the question becomes, how can I find a good person? Okay. Can we do tests? Can we do whatever? And so changing that for me, you know, just talking to my daughter, I wanted to do this quick podcast because I'm supposed to record a lot of them. I want to talk to you guys. And I know that this is a mindset shift that is just super powerful. And one thing there's a person who I've kind of been coaching, and they had some issues with picking a product and they picked the wrong product. But what was interesting is she never gave up and she's continuing. She's getting the next product. And luckily we had dinner and I was like, why don't you do this and this? And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And her thing, and again, I didn't ask her, what is your thought process or whatever, but I've seen people fail similar to that and then give up. But instead she's like, well, how do I make sure my next product is not a failure? And one of the ways that she answered that, I'm assuming, is then to come talk to me. And I gave some advice, and I know this product will succeed, or it has at least a high potential to succeed as opposed to the first product that was bad. But let's say you had a failed product. Well, how do I make my next product succeed? And if you ask yourself that question, you may find the answer. You know, because you pretty much get what you work on. If you work on something long enough or you try something long enough, you can get there, right? How can I become, you know, a good singer? Well, you need to practice. You need to learn. How can I, you know, I don't know, become good at basketball? Well, okay. If you ask that question, then you do it. So it brings me back to that story again, and it's in one of the other podcasts, but I really love this story. The little boy, Dave Scatchard, NHL player, National Hockey League, little kid, and he told his dad, "Hey, I want to be the absolute best hockey player, or I'm gonna win. I'm gonna go in the NHL." He's like a little boy, maybe 8 or 7 or 6. I don't remember how old. I forgot the story. I have to ask him again. But and his dad goes, "Oh, okay. This is how powerful this question is. So crazy, and I didn't make this connection until now." But his dad said, "Good. So you want to be in the National Hockey League? Okay, good. You know that every little kid in their house, all across Canada, I think he's from Canada, I'm pretty sure, also want to be in the NHL." And then here's a question. How are you, and I said, what are you going to do to get in the NHL that the other kids are not going to do? Okay, so it wasn't a how in this case, it was what are you going to do, but what can I do to become successful? How can I become successful? It's basically the same question. So anyway, what are you going to do to make sure that you get there? And the dad didn't even give him the answer. He just gave him the question. That's how powerful it is. And the kid goes, I'm going to shoot every day 100 shots. Every single day, no matter what, I'm going to hit the puck 100 times into whatever the goalie had some practice thing there. I want to say it was 100. And somehow in my mind, it's so heroic, I'm thinking 1,000, but I'm pretty sure it was 100. Anyway, and he did it. And he did it. And the guy ended up in the NHL with the first 1 year or 2 years he was there. Look it up, Dave Scatchard. He had the most accurate shot in the entire NHL the first 2 years of his career. The most accurate shot. But how? Because he asked himself that question, and he got the answer, and he did it. So, and there was times when he would go home, he was in bed. Probably the first couple of times, he's like, oh, wow, I didn't do the 100. He's like, in bed, he couldn't sleep because he made that promise to himself that he's going to do 100 every single day. And he went back outside in the freezing cold at the nighttime, everyone's asleep, hitting the hockey things 100 times. I mean, ridiculous. It's an amazing story. But the origin of that story, how he got there, was by asking the question of, how are you going to make it, right? What are you going to do? So I invite you to ask yourself, your team, whatever, to say, what are you going to do to make your goals happen? If that goal is to sell on Amazon, what is it that you're going to do? That goal is to sell on your website. That goal is to do whatever it is. Ask yourself, what are you going to do to make that happen? And asking that, your chances of making it happen are highly, highly increased. Thank you, guys. Hope this helps. If it did help, iTunes, go ahead, leave a review. Super helpful. Share this podcast with a friend. Any of the episodes is totally free. I do this literally because I want you guys to succeed. And this is my answer to the question, how do I get more subscribers? Ask you guys. Help me share this. Get it to somebody. Tell somebody who wants to sell. Share it on iTunes. Share, review the thing. Do whatever. It'll help me a lot. Thank you, guys. See you later.